Last year, we decided that we wanted to put a program together that was consistent across for all our main shows. So we chose as a topic, violence.
My experience at York, in my 4 years at York, York has never done a play written by an artist of color, which is important to me as an Asian Canadian theater maker, because I feel our voices aren't really displayed on stage as a person of color. Venus was written by Suzan-Lori Parks. She's an African-American playwright who was raised in Germany.
And she wrote this play in 1996, loosely based on the Venus Hottentot, otherwise known as Saartjie Baartman, who was a South African native who was taken to England to be put on display as a freak in freak shows because she was different and because she had abnormally large buttocks.
It's a very heartbreaking piece because it's about a woman who was made to believe she had a choice, but in the end, she really didn't have a choice. She was a victim of circumstance, but also a woman with a lot of strength.
She was taken by a Dutch man trying to make money to Europe, displayed as a freak, then taken to Paris and dissected. It provided scientific basis that black people are the missing link between humans and apes. These drawings were later used by Hitler, Mussolini, the Klan to have a scientific basis for racism. The thing about Saartjie Baartman is that she never wrote anything down. All the historical records that are devised about her life are based on assumptions, based on documents written by white newspapers, white journalism articles, written by the court. So no one really knows her story.
I chose to put Venus on at York, would have been December of 2013. So it's been over a year in the planning. It asked me a lot of questions after I'd read it for the first time. It struck me in the gut, the rhythm, the cadence of it.
We have a tendency, at least in theater schools in my reference, to idolize the museum and love this great historic age of classic plays. So I think this is good because it kind of messes up the hegemony that's present. It's a show about revising history and seeing that side of the story that's untold.
I regret to inform you that the Venus Hottentot is dead. There won't be any show tonight.
The strike happened, but we were told that the show would still go on. If the strike was to last for a week, we'd still be able to go up on stage after that and perform. Yeah, I was kind of hoping that the strike would just end and we'd get to go back up on stage, we'd get to perform the show the way it was supposed to be performed.
The production is officially canceled. It was to be done at the Faire Fecan Theatre, the big house. However, there are myself and 4 other MFA actors involved in the show that need to present something.
The MFAs, in the second year that they're here, their thesis projects are generally connected with our major shows. There'll be one show that will be just the 4th years, one show which is just the master's students, and one show which is a combination of the master's and the 4th years, and that's what Venus is.
The year was 1810, 3 years after the bill for the abolition of the slave trade had been passed in Parliament. And among protests and denials, horror and fascination, the Venus show went on.
The faculty had to find a way to allow them to present, because that's an integral part of their thesis. We were all given the option to withdraw, but the way it has been presented to us it is not for a paying audience. There is no production element, no lights, no nothing. So no labor is being replaced. It is strictly for the purpose of the grad actors who are doing their thesis, for them to be able to complete their degree.
When we found out that it was canceled, it was kind of tense. There was a lot of, I guess you could say it was bickering. There were a lot of people that didn't want to cross the picket line.
We were allowed to get together for coffee and talk about the show, which we definitely partook in some days getting together and just talking about our frustrations.
It was just a chance for us to breathe, because this is completely beyond our control. Looking beyond politics, beyond what like, who's on whose side, who's with the picketers, who's not, is York right, is York wrong. Looking beyond that, we had a show taken away from us. Jamie had a thesis taken away from him. And then Jamie got everyone back together and was like, how can we use the space? And he opened it up more of as an ensemble, and I think that really strengthened the show.
The place we got to before the strike was, everybody was off book, the blocking was all set. It's very easy to just, if you need to pull away some things, you just take it away and you keep working around it, and you mold around it.
We kind of banded together, and I think we all just did it for Jamie, because it was the right thing to do.
The female Hottentot under my care has the usual falling off of appearance common in women of 30 years old. Her mammae are flaccid and elongated, while her gluteal muscles, along with their coverings, the two prominent hemispherical cushions of fat, are quite remarkable. More remarkable still are the long appendages which hang down from her pudendum.
What we brought to it, it was the skeleton, it was the bare bones, and it was raw.
The set is in the space right now. Everything is there and it's ready.
We spent a lot of hours, many months, on making sure that we could make that huge theater be intimate.
So Jamie, the director, he wanted to focus on circular objects, like big things round, so I created a round set of stairs. And then there's different textures on the sides of the stairs that creates a lot of shadow, so it makes it look a little bit more violent.
It's everything an actor would want a set to be, because the different levels, the staircase, I mean, the staircase had so many different meanings at different times.
We got it right. We got it right, and we were really looking forward to seeing that.
I think it kind of hurts my heart because, like, I'm in my last year of university and this is the last thing I'm supposed to do for the show. Like, being a designer is my goal since first year.
That set, she spent like weeks of all-nighters on that thing. No one will ever see it. Those 59 costumes, Wilma didn't think she'd do it, she nailed it. Completely gone.
Out of the 23 actors, 60 costumes in total, they were all pretty much done. The direction that Jamie wanted to go into it, I really had this connection with him where I'm like, oh, okay, finally, like I get someone who understands this play in somewhat the same way that I understand it, as like a circus freak show. The twins, the conjoined twins, when we built the mask, we made one side of each mask bigger, and then the other side, whether it's the left or right side, smaller and bent. That way, if the two actors put their head together, it would fit nicely like a puzzle. I thought this would be such a great production. And seeing the pictures and just seeing the costumes just standing there kind of like lifeless, I was really annoyed by that.
Have you heard about the rump she has large as a cauldron pot? This is why men go to see the Venus Hottentot. She showed her butts for many a day and eke for many a night, till fights broke out in outer streets. Now this was not at all right. Some said that this was her goodwill, some said that this was not. I'll ask why they did you so ill, this lady Hottentot.
I'll be honest, I've cried over this strike because it's very conflicting. Obviously, my heart just wants to be on that stage with those lights, with that set, with my cast, in front of an audience.
I want to perform on a big stage. I want to see if my voice can fill that space. And I want to have that experience of performing in front of hundreds of people, before I have to leave.
Venus has been put on a shelf. I wouldn't say Venus is dead, the Venus Hottentot is dead. I wouldn't say that. I'd say she's been put on a shelf. And yeah. We'll see how long she lives on the shelf.
One of the things that really excites me about Jamie as a director in this entire process is that he's not defeated by this.
Anything like this happens, you have to let it process. Don't do anything rash. Let it sink in, and then as artists, we have to move forward. You have to find a way to use it, as opposed to sitting back and doing nothing, as opposed to being totally defeated and doing something antithesis to it.
Even though the show will not go on, I did learn a lot from Jamie.
Like, you couldn't say no to him, you know? You just had to do it, and you put your all into it because he was doing that same thing. You know, this was his baby, and we're all here trying to save it.
This isn't a class anymore. This has become an ensemble, and I think, like, in academia, I think that's really important. Because I feel we lose a lot of heart and soul in the institution of learning, and I think it's nice to see something come together despite the limitations it's given.
It happens time and time again. Unions are going to be a part of this career no matter what we do. I've been involved in several strikes in my career, and we've always made do. So you have to use it to your best of your abilities and make great art out of it. Keep moving forward.